Hey y'all, this is Shawn Sandridge. Thank you so much for clicking onto my channel. So hit that like button, subscribe, and tell a friend about me. So we are going to do the first review of Sisters-in-Law, episode 1, season 1, episode 1, and it's entitled Law and Disorder. So I misspoke. It is in Houston, Texas, and not Dallas. How they start is that Houston is the 4th largest city, and 66% are men that are attorneys, and 82% of them are white, and then the rest are women of color. So I think that was a national stat. I don't think that had pertained to Houston, but that's the opening way. That's the way they open up the show. So we have some characters, and I'm just gonna kind of go down the list and then go into each character. So I have about 15 minutes and I want to squeeze it all in, so I'm hoping I don't have to do a part 2. So we have Jolanda. Jolanda is this very larger than life character. She is a criminal defense attorney. There is Rhonda. Rhonda is also a very big presence. She is a civil litigation attorney. There is Juanita. Juanita is a criminal public defender, and she is considered the peacemaker of the group. There is Monique. Monique is a criminal defense attorney. She does have strong religious beliefs, and she believes in prayer. When she is defending somebody, she gives them prayer as a free service, whether they want it or not. And then there's Vivian. Vivian is the matriarch. She has mentored and taught all of the lawyers under her. But she is very clear to let everyone know that no one pays homage to her. And then there is, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce her name, but it's the T-Y. I think they call her T-A. I think they pronounce her name T-A, even though it's spelled T-I-Y-E. And she is also a civil litigator. We're gonna call her Youngblood because she is the youngest of the group. So those are the ladies that form up the Sisters-in-Law. So I'm gonna go down the line of their relationship. Vivian and Monique used to work together and thought that Vivian was gonna pass on the firm to her. So she had really mentored her, and then thought that Monique was going to be a partner, and then she was going to kind of pass the baton to Monique, and she was going to finish her law career with having Monique there. But Monique didn't feel that it was the best fit for her, and so she left. And Vivian is still feeling some type of way. She feels abandoned. So they have agreed to disagree about the split. Juanita and Rhonda used to work at the same law firm or share a firm at the same time. Rhonda and Jolanda actually met in law school, so they are law school friends. And Thais, like I said, she's the young blood, so she's kind of by herself. So that's the relationship of the ladies. So I'm passing on around notes, so I'm hoping to keep it all together. So Jolanda is this very strong presence. She is really tall, like she's 6 feet tall, and she's got this, dark cocoa brown skin, and her head is shaved real low, and she's got this blonde hair. So she has a very big presence, and she has a really deep voice. But she calls herself a warrior lawyer. As a benefit to the community, she teaches monthly about know your rights, so people will know how to handle themselves when they approach a police officer, and she gives those free. She deals with a self-defense murder case, which was really heartbreaking, and the lady's name is Linda. You can tell she's been beaten down. She murdered her husband, common law husband, who she was together with for 20+ years. so she's dealing with the case, and she's also running for the Houston School Board. This is set in Harris County. So anyone who's from Texas, lived in Texas, have family from Texas, this is the location of Harris County where all of this takes place. So she's also, while she's running for school board, she's handling a self-defense murder case, and she's also handling her son's case. Her son got arrested. He goes to school in another state, I believe, and he got arrested. He went to a party. The party got too loud. The police were called, and he was arrested for police interference, and he was put spread eagle. So she is defending her son on that case. Her son said that he told the kids to record what was going on, so the police didn't like it, and that's one of the reasons why he got arrested. With Linda's case, she had been beaten and emotionally abused, physically abused. She had a nephew who's now 26 years old, and brought character witnesses to get their take on the relationship between Linda and her deceased partner, whose name was Detroit. And just some horrible things. Like, no one really had anything nice to say. She also goes to her house to reenact, to see what was going on, because she wanted to get a mental picture of what was going on. And it's really sad because you can tell that she's lived in a depressed state for a while. She is a hoarder, suspected hoarder, and she, you know, there's still blood on the areas of where this all took place. So it was really sad. One of the things that becomes a problem is that the judge that they are assigned wanted to give her an ankle bracelet, and the lady only had like 17 cents in her account. And you have to, one thing I didn't know, which was a lot of education, is that when you get an ankle bracelet, an ankle monitor, you actually have to pay it and pay for it, and you don't get that money back. And so they were talking about it's going to cost like $500. And so Monique ended up helping Jolanda, because at the time that they had to go to court, Jolanda was actually taking care of her son's, Gio, his case, and so Monique stepped in. But long story short, that got taken care of, and she didn't have to get the ankle monitor because she's been a long-standing resident there. She's not a flight risk. She doesn't have any money. She only lives off of Social Security. So, but it was a really sad case, but it was really interesting to kind of follow that through. So I don't know anything about Houston or Dallas, but I believe it's a lot like Louisiana, because instead of counties, so to speak, well, no, I take that back. But evidently, Jolanda is from the 3rd Ward, and that is, you know, don't mess with me. I'm from the 3rd Ward. So she's kind of hood. To her acknowledgement, and she feels like she is to fight for the little person. She was raised in the 3rd Ward, which is a really rough area. She's been shot at. Her brother was killed. So she feels like she has thick skin, and she has what it takes to be a criminal defense attorney. So that's Jolanda. Okay, so Rhonda is a civil litigator, and the thing about this whole thing about the law ladies is that is a representative, I think, about a lot of professions or industries. Even in the law, there's this perceived idea that practicing certain law has more of an elitist stature than others. So Rhonda definitely believes that being a criminal defense attorney in the profession is the bottom of the barrel, and she is a civil litigator. She fights against corporations to to defend someone who has been wrongfully taken, you know, someone has, big companies have taken, you know, advantage of the little person. So Rhonda's story is that she was a victim of sexual harassment at a law firm that she worked at. She sued the law firm and she got a very large settlement. And with that settlement, she opened up her own firm and she works with her husband. She has 4 kids. She's considered very bougie. She makes no apologies of the amount of money that she makes. And she is very much the type of person that believes in conspicuous, what's the word? Yeah, conspicuous consumption. She has this very, you know, I think it's a 12,000 square foot house. You know, she has the you know, as Jolanda says, the biggest everything. And there's a scene where they said that her dog, her dogs have their own air-conditioned house with an HD flat screen 40-inch TV, and that Rhonda believes in the biggest of everything. She has the most expensive jewelry, she has everything, and there's a scene where she is celebrating a partial settlement that she won for her clients, which was a $50 million settlement against a bank who was cheating the employees out of overtime. She was very proud of herself and was tooting on her own horn about collecting $15 million. So, you know, you do the math. She made a good amount of money. So Monique is a family and criminal defense attorney. So she's in the courts very often. She's big on prayer. And she was actually mentored by Vivian. And there's a scene where we get to see Daryl Jordan, who is the special prosecutor for the Sandra Bland case. He is a classmate of Monique, and we see Vivian. Vivian is tooting her own horn that they asked her first, but she was so busy, and but she mentored him, and that you know her best work. So I think if you have to say how great you are, maybe you're not that great. I mean, I'm not saying have confidence and not be proud about your work, but if you have to always tell somebody like, I made you, it gets really old really fast. That's all I'm saying. So Rhonda and Jolanda have this little tiff because Jolanda hasn't made time for Rhonda, who Rhonda has decided to host this fundraiser for the school board, and they, you know, have this fight. Well, she still hosts the fundraiser, and there's this big old blowout because Monique invites a +1 that was on the invitation. It was a +1, and she brings a colleague. The colleague is a conservative social commentator, a political commentator, and she's a Black Republican. And when Monique introduced the lady Katrina to the ladies and to Rhonda, who's the host, and it's her house, she just has a major blow up. Like, how can you be a Black Republican? And now they want to talk about, you know, she's going to school them, and, you know, well, you know, the Republican Party wasn't what it is today. And then Rhonda just flips out and she kicks her out of the house, which I thought was extremely rude. Then she gets mad at Monique about, how dare you invite somebody to my house that I did not clear. It was just too much. I mean, it's a fundraiser, for goodness sakes. There's probably a lot of people that you don't know that are at your house that are going to be writing checks on behalf of Jolanda, who you're hosting it for. I just thought it was out of proportion, but she was really in her feelings about the whole situation, and I thought it was just unwarranted. Just my opinion. I'm going to end it for now, and we're going to do part 2.